The smackdown is in full effect. The cat fight is in full swing. And the purses are flying all over the place. Hair weave, some dark-skinned hair weave is being pulled. And some light-skinned faces are being sadly scratched all up. Psychosocially, so to speak. Anyways, let's talk about this issue. I knew it was going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen. And because it's simply the way in which black people are. Black people, and I'm going to just say this before I get into this whole thing with Chrissy versus Exoticals United. Now, I'm going to say this in case you don't know what's really popping and what's going on. Let me explain. You've had people known as colorism activists who are led by, and she is sure to let you know, as a matter of fact, she's more obsessed and possessed, Rashida Schrober, she's more obsessed over everybody knowing that she began colorism activism in 1998. Now, I'm going to say it like this, because this is not really about, I guess you could say Rashida Schrober is unquestionably in this, whether she wants to be it or not. It's really Chrissy and her subculture. Because I will say that once you've gotten over 100,000, 150,000 followers, you have a little bit of a cult following. Love that person or hate them, but you've got a little bit of a cult following going on. Okay. Now, her and her cult followers are harassing, or they have been victim whining for the greater half of the last 5 years or so. And for the most part, with the way that the internet works, when something like that starts, you can get away for a little while. You get what I'm saying? You can get away for a little while with kind of bugging and harassing and creating somewhat of a victim social conscious net, so to speak. I guess that's what I want to call it, a victim social conscious net. And most women are either, I ain't gonna say most women, but you will attract a very large number of women to that victim social conscious net. But at a certain point, certain things are going to start to be realized. Now, Chrissy has been around, because I know that I ran into her channel around 2015 or so. But this social conscious victim net was created and made. And a lot of women got up under it. Now, there's been a realization and a waking up. And that is how long, because Chrissy does make they're very subliminals. She makes a lot of subliminals aimed at it's really, I want to say, I'm not going to say violence, but it would be paramount to the equivalent of another woman just letting herself be drug along with something. It's like, I understand your resentments and your sentiments and your angers and your frustrations, but I can only be here for so long and be the one who has to absorb all that shit. You know, it's like at a certain point in time, homegirl, you're going to have to just own certain things that come along with your tone. You get what I'm saying? Like a big thing that biracial, not so much lighter skinned black women, but a big thing that biracial that will often happen with biracial women is that there'll be an expectation of her to be ultra soft, ultra feminine, ultra girl-like. You know what I'm saying? Just the ultra womany white woman. She is pretty much some Negro's substitute white woman, our closest thing that he could get to a white woman. And the very second that she shows a little bit of bass in her voice, he's quick to remind her of just how half of a nigga she is. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of mixed women don't want to deal with that, so they don't even date brothers, or either they'll date a brother, but he's got to be, you know what I'm saying, sharp and, you know, not the type of old clown that sits up and, just obsesses the entire relationship over the fact that she's mixed or this, that, and the third. It'll be a brother who just, he just reminds her from time to time that her hair is very curly. Other than that, the guy always screaming light, bright, this, that, and the third becomes annoying. But, that comes with, I guess you could say, the light skin territory. The thing about, I guess you could say, the colorism movement is that there's something that I detect in Chrissy. I detect that Chrissy simply just feels inferior. She just feels like an outright inferior woman. She feels, and many black women in her comments, they feel the same way, in my opinion. I'm going to try to dig up a video. If y'all will bear with me and give me just a second. But a lot of them feel that being black is inferior. They just do. But it's socially abnormal to project that. It's socially abnormal to project that you feel inferior. But they have a social conscious safety net that allows them to project this inferiority, and they ain't got to admit it straightforwardly. Or either there's a certain cushion, there's a psychosocial cushion behind it. Let something play for a quick second. Let me see if this cooperates with me.
So bad that they can't even listen to anyone else's experiences. Oh, here's a good one. Light-skinned saviors. Yes, I wanted to talk about light-skinned saviors for a little second here. This lady is light-skinned. From the picture, I don't know, she could be fake, who knows? But we'll just...
Okay, I'm going to talk about what this term means. I don't even want to sit and listen to that part of the video. It's just pathetic. I'm going to push the video back a second, but I'm going to explain what that means. The term light-skinned savior is somewhat similar to when a white person says a guilt-ridden liberal. If you've ever heard that term expressed by conservatives, that means white people who are bleeding heart liberal. Bleeding heart liberal or guilt-ridden liberal. And this is part of the reason why I said black people are such a disappointing and fucked up race of people. Because I'm going to tell you what this type of language is. It's ethnic divisions. It's ethnic divisionism. It's ethnic divisionism. And I'm going to talk about the reality of what's really going on at a deeper level. But I'm going to let this play.
Hello,
I'm going to let this play for a minute.
All right,
because
I'm here with another video.
This is what they've done. This is what the colorism crybabies have done. It pretty much falls under, for every action, there's an opposite but equal reaction. Here's your opposite and equal reaction to colorism crybabyism. And this isn't just one channel. I'm using the term, or, the channel of...
I should have just waited and...
Exoticals United. But, and like I say Exoticals United, but this is really, it's going to be the rise of a lot of channels. And let me say this right here. The term exoticals and dark skin are often just adjectives, that are really just describing pretty and unattractive. What happens is that a lot of women, like I said, in a certain social conscious safety net, they get to hide the term unattractive underneath dark skin. Because one of the first things that you see on the so-called Exoticals United pages is that half of the celebrity images that she uses are just common black females. They're just pretty. They're attractive. But I'm going to let this play. Hold on.
Went to the first one. My phone is gonna die, so this video has to be quick. With the quickness that is Here we go. Oh, wait, no. I lied. This is the one.
Come on, chick, hurry up.
So, going out with light-skinned women and not getting attention from men. This video should not exist, first and foremost. I do not understand if you feel this way towards light-skinned women. You feel like they get attention, and you feel like they think they're better than you, or, whatever. Why would you go out of your way to hang out with these people? It just does not make sense to say that a group of people as a whole are oppressing you, and then you go out of your way to chill with these people. It seems more like you're secretly competing with light-skinned women, and the crazy part is, here's the proof. Going out with a light-skinned woman and not getting attention from men. My advice. I just think it's obsessive. I don't think it's healthy, because at the end of the day, you're still comparing yourself to a light-skinned woman, and I don't understand the obsession with comparing yourself to a woman that looks nothing like you. And it's just like, why stop at light skin? Why not just compare yourself to white women, since they...
Okay, now I could let this video play forever. It's 30-some minutes. And what I really wanted to just do was just give you a whiff of it. I just wanted to give you a whiff of it. It gets real ugly, like it's saying things such as, if you take out your weave, a man is going to be shell-shocked and surprised. If you alter yourself just a little bit, that's one thing. But she was accusing darker-skinned women of altering themselves entirely too much. And that's something that I agree with. Like, whenever I seen the Busset Challenge, I said to myself, this is bullshit. Black American females are completely bullshit. They just are. But everybody was actually doing it. It was light-skinned and biracial women who was doing the Busset Challenge too. And that shit it's trannyism. I'm straight up flat out telling you, that shit is trannyism. If you add that much weave and that much makeup to yourself, in this world that we're living in, an absolute and complete male can do that. A person is going to literally be with you because you have a pussy. It's not going to be because of how you look, depending on how much you done altered yourself. Because that's just too much alterations. But anyway, it could be expected that there was going to be an element that was going to come forth eventually that was going to clap back at these women. And that is something that, I'm going to just get down to the real true reality of what's really popping. A lot of these, if you look at the biggest colorism pages, with the exception of Paris Milan, they're really African-led pages. They're African. I am Ilaho, who has, Olaho, she has almost 200,000 or over 200,000 subs. And Chrissy has just under 200,000. Man, look, the reality is that though Chrissy is Jamaican, her daddy is Jamaican, and them island people have an obsession over breeding with white people, man. They do. Whenever you're dealing, as a matter of fact, the comedian Michael Blackson has just proposed to his longtime girlfriend. Needless to say, she's a white woman. And he's African. Michael Blackson is African. Funny brother, but we all know he's African. He played in the new Coming to America movie. The thing about it, bro, is that, man, look, these are African immigrants, and what they're doing is assuming a whole lot of things about the Black American population. And I talked about this in the Dane Calloway video, and the exposing the, Aborigines, and how what happened in America is that a smaller number of Africans mixed in with Native American people. And you can see this big time, especially if you go to Oklahoma, Minnesota, Ohio. This is why you notice in Ohio and even in Chicago, this is where you get your big old light-skinned badunka butt girls in Chicago. These are just black girls these are women that are really ethnic. And what happens is that in American social structure, they fall under black or African American. And what happens is that if an actual African comes into the picture, then that person is going to observe and note that that person is not really wholly black. Even though nowadays you can follow dozens, over 100 Instagram models, and most of them Instagram models have small little button noses. One of the biggest, most deceptive terminologies is African features. That's a very big deceptive term. And let me tell you what happens is that a certain caste, I'm going to use, once again, I am Natural Pam. Every African, according to what a European looks at as unattractive, they will grab the most unattractive African and typecast that as being all Africans. What this really is that in the overall context of things, it's really an argument that stretches outside of social black conversation. Because white women rail against white male beauty standards, I sometimes get criticized for liking women that are a little bit larger by black men from California, or who from the cities like New York, who tend to be attracted to the same body frame that white males are attracted to, petite, overwhelmingly small women. I like me a woman with some meat on her bones, with a big old butt, Some dudes don't necessarily like that, but it's a beauty standard thing, and this is kind of like racial beauty standards. A white man will view a black woman who he considers to be black, who's more white looking. If you look at all the Miss White Americas, and with the exception of maybe Miss Universe from a couple years ago, they all look like Caucasian females. They look like the black version of Caucasian females. And it's a beauty standards thing. And what happens is that one typecast of black people, which generally tend to be your large, broad nose, your large lips, high cheekbones, rounded high cheekbones, they get typecasted as pretty much the standard of what a black person is. And if a white man thinks negatively of black people, he grabs the most alienating, polarized, unattractive figure or phenotype from within those people and makes it the standard of the people. Now, what happens is that particular phenotype of black people, they get a certain victim benefit. Oh, I'm the victim of socially viewed ugliness. But at the same time, they get a whole nother card. It's a devastatingly ugly race card where they get to paint the perception that the standard of the race looks like them. That's the problem explained as best I can. And I noticed that there's a lot of dudes who do this also. There's dudes, a whole bunch of them African, they do this also. And I've always said the most frustrating things to argue against are the type of arguments that can be taken apart with less than 1 minute of Googling. Like, you can Google light-skinned Africans or just follow a handful of Africans on Instagram, and Africans will start popping up every which way. And I can honestly say at this point in time that I don't know why anybody would actually go to Brazil to get with an exotic looking woman. Like, there's literally every which type of exotic looking African woman who are in Africa who would probably relate to you a lot closer than a mixed race, possibly Indian woman, fully Indian woman who you just thinking is a black woman in Brazil. But there's every which type of light-skinned Africans. You're literally looking at one of them. I'm going to use a picture of two different Africans. This is just how far apart Africans can look. But this whole thing is going to get uglier and uglier. The light-skinned girls, and I'm going to just keep it real with you. I'm going to tell you what's happening. Certain women are labeling other black people light-skinned. Light-skinned is in the eye of the beholder. People use that terminology in a very manipulated way. I was looking at a Rashida Strober video, and Rashida Strober said this in a recent video that she did. Mixed race Indian black man prefers or wants to date mixed race Indian light skinned woman. Hold up. Let me say it again. Mixed black man mixed with Indian wants to date light skinned woman mixed with Indian. See, that's deceptive terms, because see, the reality is that she's talking about a mixed dude who was a darker hued mixed dude. And the thing about it is that it was basically a mixed guy that wanted to date a mixed woman. But what she did was that she took advantage of social white racial construct, and she grabbed the mixed dude out of his mixedness and made him black, but for the purpose of bullying and victimizing lighter skinned women and light skinned people, she maintained the woman into ambiguous light-skinnedness. That's bullshit. And see, the reality is that if you sit up for 5 years bumping your gums, talking this and talking that, eventually there are people who are going to start to see through that bullshit and start to see, man, look here, get your black ass the fuck up out of here. You're engaging in victimism and manipulation, and you're trying to engage in double victimism also. No. And what a lot of these girls have said is that, no, enough is enough. I'm not letting you do it. The buck stops here, sister. Y'all immigrants got to get checked on that. You know, you got to get checked on that, is what a lot of these movements are saying. But the unfortunate thing is that a whole bunch of this talk, even though it's going to end up being silly as hell, it's going to devolve into silliness like, I want to sign a petition so we can get light skin and biracial recognition. And I'm like, you dummies sit around and talk about celebrities and shit all day. Ain't nobody going to sit up there and say, well, I think you deserve an entire nation state. So every time some dark-skinned girl complains that Flo Milli or some dark-skinned R&B artist didn't get the award, you can have your very own island so you don't have to listen to dark-skinned girls complain. This is the type of stuff they sit around talking about. Like, who said what about a celebrity? Or what celebrity male has, made some quote-unquote colorist statement. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And light skin is in the eye of the beholder. I say once again, to a very dark-skinned person, the entire world is light skin. To a white man, the entire world is dark skin. To a person who's a little bit in between, like a yellow, reddish person, I don't know. Some people are light and some people are dark. It is what it is, man. It's your boy, Shadow Band. More videos like this to come. I'm out.